G'day everyone, Uncle Jojo, great to see you all again. Super duper excited, finished off all of our slab finally, and we've stripped it all back, it's seasoned, and now we've cleansed it all and marked all of our beams, ready to rock and roll. Big fat thank you to ECONOMIX. Thank you very much, ECONOMIX. Fadi, you were amazing to deal with, thank you very much. I did lots of homework on the different types of concrete that are out there, Green Star concrete that are out there. Green Star concrete meaning concrete that has recycled products in it. So ECONOMIX has given us a very good sturdy concrete at a 32 MPa at a really nice price, and it had fly ash in it and recycled concrete. So both old concrete was ground down and reused. Fly ash, for anybody that didn't know, fly ash is a byproduct of burning coal, and it lines all of the chimneys and they clean that all down, and we use that instead of a cement. But we're still able to get a really nice strong concrete finish, and we're using all of that byproduct. So we're reducing all of the extra material that we have to do. So just to explain extra material, in 1 cubic meter of concrete goes 2.3 to 2.5 tons of ingredients. Depends on the MPa rating or the strength rating, depends on how much ingredients go into it. But that is a huge amount of ingredients to go into concrete. So it's so important for us to actually understand what products we're using on a build like this and the resources that go into producing that material. I also tried to use Pronto concrete, really good. Thank you very much, Pronto concrete. John Rambo, you're an absolute champion. I really appreciate all of the info that you were able to give me. Different products have different ingredients and different costs because of that, so you need to be really careful on the kind of Green Star rating that you're using for your concrete if you're going to go that way, and the strength of that concrete. This concrete here, we're going to actually polish all down. So all of this area up here is going to get polished down. This area down here, which is the garage area, that's going to stay as is. So we're going to have an exposed aggregate. What that's going to do is reduce any extra materials that we have to put in there. And we've already put, if you didn't see it before, we've already put a hydronic heating all the way through the slab. So the slab itself doesn't need to have tiles on it or doesn't need to have timber on it. And we're able to utilize the concrete slab that's there as a finished product. And it'll look Mickey Mouse. We've done it quite a few times in the past and it does look really good. As far as concreting goes, this has to be one of the hardest projects I've ever had to do. The site cut and establishment plus the excavation, instead of being 120 to 140 cubic meters of soil, we ended up taking away 285 cubic meters of soil. So that doubled the cost of excavation and site establishment. And then just after we finished the excavation for all of our beamwork and our concrete slab, we had a month's worth of rain in one day, flooded all of our excavations and everything collapsed in. We had to hand dig all of that out, which ended up taking, because we had to do it all manually, that ended up taking us 4 weeks to finish off, plus all of the formwork. And then the day before the pour, plus I need to include the additional costs in getting rid of all of that additional soil, plus the labour. So it was 4 weeks of labour intensive soil removal, and then we had to stockpile that, and then we had to get rid of it. And then we had machinery to come in and get rid of all of that soil. Then we did all of the formwork, we got all of our formwork in place. Some of that formwork we actually had to do as we were doing the excavation, so it didn't fall in more. Then to top it all off, the day before the concrete pour was booked in, we had, again, a month's worth of rain and flooded out almost everything. We had 3 pumps going to pump out all of the water, and then I had the concreters and all of the trucks and everybody booked in for the next day, and all the steel in place. So it was super lucky that I was able to get my hands on those pumps that I did, and was able to get rid of all of that soil and do the concrete pour. A massive thank you to SteelCon Concreting Services. You guys were absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the extra hours you put into this to get this seamless kind of finish. It's really important if you're going to do your own pour, if you're an owner builder, or when you're starting up your own building firm, to get the proper trades in. Concreting is not a registered trade in Australia. You don't have to do your apprenticeship or anything like that to be a concreter, and yet concreting is actually 75% of our commercial construction sites. So it's really important that you get the right concreter in for the right job. SteelCon were unbelievable. Because we had a month's worth of rain in the day before, we were actually using jacks to jack up the formwork to get it back into height whilst it was raining. The next day we were 35 mil out on one of our lines, and SteelCon were able to pour the concrete in certain ways and then hand screed it to levels, and I've got an entire slab that is maybe a variance of 5 mil over the whole thing, and that's 14 meters long by 8.5 meters wide. So the SteelCon, thank you very much. You guys were amazing, and I can't stress enough to people, get the right people for the right job. You don't just want to use Joe Blow or somebody that you pick up on Google or something like that, Yellow Pages. You want to know the guys that you get out are absolutely A quality at what they do. And then SteelCon, even on top of all of that, stayed back and made sure that everything was finished off to grade. We ended up putting 96 meters of concrete into the slab, and originally I had quoted for 65 cubic meters. Because we had all of that rain, all of our beam work opened up, we cleaned out all of that soil, but the beams, where we've got our concrete beams going all the way through, you'll see it in the photos, because of those beams opening up with all of the rain and expansion, etc., of all the soil and removal and all of that collapsing, we ended up going from 65 cubic meters of soil up to 96 cubic meters of soil. So it's, again, another cost on top of that. Well, I'll talk about costs in another video, because I think it's really important that you see the additional costs that it is, and that's only, where are we? The very first third of the build. So excavation, getting out of the ground is always 1/3 of a project, whether it's a reno extension or it's a brand new build. Getting out of the ground is easily 1/3 of the build. It's some of the hardest work that you'll ever have to do. There were many times that I looked at this job and I just wanted to give up with all of the excavation by hand that we had to do. It was very, very hard going, but I just think of my grandfather and my father who would just say, shut up, get on with it. What are you whinging about? You got nothing to whinge about. So I got through it thanks to that discipline that my grandfather and my father gave me. So the next big move we're going to be doing is frames are going to be coming in. So I'll talk about that. Any questions or queries about anything up to date, let me know and I'll fill you in. Other than that, thanks for watching. And like always, stay unreal, banana peel, and I'll see you in the suit.